Welcome back everyone to DIY December Day 4, where I share all my DIY tips and tricks with you guys in a budget-friendly way. For today's tutorial, we are going to go over how to make your own memorial charms. For our wedding, I actually made rosary beads out of these, and they were gifted to my mom and mother-in-law who just recently had their parents pass away. And I also made one for myself so I can hold my rosary beads of all 4 of my grandparents as I walk down the aisle. But for today's video, we're going to make charms out of these, which is the same exact concept, so if you want to learn, make sure you're following along. Now, these are the things I purchased off Amazon in order to make these. First, you want your blank pendants with glass covers. Next up, you want some safety pins. I love these because I can put more than one on each thing, and then they have the little gaps to separate them. Next, you need some jewelry pliers because it's easier to maneuver these rings to attach it to your safety pins. This set also comes with the clasp, so highly recommend. And the last thing you need is diamond glaze, which will act as your adhesive. All these products are already linked on my Amazon storefront for you guys, so if you want the same look, make sure you check it out there. Now, the first thing I want to do is measure out my glass coverings because this is the size I want my pictures to come out as. Once you have the size of the length and the width of them, you can go over to canva.com and you want to click create a new design. Once you're here, go to the bottom and click custom size and then type in your sizing for that glass covering. Mine ended up being 0.75 by 1, so that's what I'm putting in here. Once Canva has opened up a new canvas for you, you want to go ahead and bring your pictures in. You can click and drag these right from your desktop, or you can upload them in on the sidebar on the left. Now, what you want to do is scale up your image, and you also want to place the person's body directly in the middle. Keep in mind for these pendants, we want to cut them into ovals, so I want to make sure if I get it in the center, it's not going to chance the fact that anything's going to get cut off. Once I've adjusted it and zoomed in to the exact position I want, I can go ahead and move on to my other images and do the same exact thing. In order to do this, click add page right underneath, and that will open up a new size canvas for you without having to start a new project. Then you follow the same steps again by scaling up your image and positioning exactly the way you want. Continue to do this for the rest of the images that you want into charms. Now, once you've done that for all of your images and everything looks good to you and you've checked this over, you're going to want to go to the top right and click share. You should then see this drop down and then click download and then save this out as a PNG. Once again, hit download so then all of your images are saved into one file. Once it's done downloading, check your downloads folder and then make sure all of your images look good in there. Now, once again, we're going to create a new canvas in Canva and we are going to make this actually 4x6. We are doing this step so all those small images that we just created, we can put them all in one print. So from that download folder that we just made prior, we want to dump all of these photos into there. For now, I'm going to take one of my images, bring it in, and I want to make sure this is the exact size that I wanted. In order to do this, we want to click the top right button that says position, click the little lock button next to the sizing so you know it stays proportionate, and we're going to change the height to 1. If you did this correctly, it should auto size the width to 0.75 for you. Click enter, and then you'll see your image changes to the correct size that you want. Now, what I'm going to do is duplicate the same image 8 times because I have 8 different images, and I'm just going to be replacing them. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a bit OCD when it comes to these things, so I like to set things up and make sure everything is evenly spaced. So if you want to play with that, go to the position in your alignment tool. Now that we have our little template set up, we want to take our images that we actually want in there on the left and replace them with the ones on the right. In order to do this, just click and drag on top of the image that you want replaced and it will fill it in for you at the same sizing we just did. Once all of them are replaced and they look good and you have all of your images in there, if you have any blank space, you can go ahead and duplicate all those photos and put them underneath because why not? Just in case you make a mistake, you have backups. And of course, the OCD in me had to center this with my guide, so that's what I'm doing. Again, we're going to save this out exactly the same way we did before. You go to top right, hit share, download PNG, download again, and you should be good. Now, I don't have one of those legit photo printers at home, so I am sending this to Walgreens to print. These photos need to have that shiny adhesive on top in order for the diamond glaze to actually work. The cost for one solo print was 42 cents, and I was able to pick it up at my local Walgreens within 30 minutes. Now, here's the diamond glaze I was talking about earlier. This is what I use to adhere my jewelry. Once you have your prints, we're ready to go and cut them out. I cut off my backups and put them to the side, and then my clear glass casing I'm using as a stencil, holding it down and then tracing with a marker. I do this for every single image, and then at the end I go ahead and cut them all out. And as you can see, I placed them all in the little templates just to make sure that they all fit. Now go ahead and remove your image because we're going to lay down a thin layer of diamond glaze so we can adhere our picture to our pendant. I like to make sure it's firmly pushed down with my Cricut weeding tool, but you can also use a toothpick for this if you don't have that. Go ahead and do the same thing with the rest of your charms and then let them dry for about 10 minutes. Once it's been about that, take your diamond glaze again, and now on top of the picture, you want to make a drop about that size. Then go ahead and drop your clear glass casing on top so then it disperses. Add a little little bit of pressure with your finger just to make sure there's no air bubbles, but you also don't want to push too hard because you don't want it to come up on the sides. Then I did the same exact thing for the rest of them. Now this time I probably let the whole thing completely dry for about 30 minutes just because I didn't want a chance holding them in anything moving. Once I felt comfortable with that, I took my smaller spacers here and I added those to the top of my charms along with a clasp, so I knew this was going to be customizable and they could be used after the fact as well. And this is what your charms should be looking like. Hopefully you came to the same result, but this is such a special touch to add to any occasion, especially weddings. And that's all I got for you guys today. Make sure you come back tomorrow for DIY December Day 5.